Hello, this is Reverend Bill, and tonight I think we have to talk about Hunter Biden. That's kind of the news that picked us today. I even got a backdrop of him. That's what should be Hunter Biden, but apparently it's not going to be. That's some other schmuck. But I thought it was an appropriate backdrop. Anyway, for those who may have missed it, Joe Biden, despite numerous insistence prior that he would not do it, has ended up pardoning his son over the weekend. And there are on X and Twitter, I think Elon Musk has put up, past comments where Joe Biden said no one is above the law, and that's why he's not going to pardon his son. And yet, he pardoned his son. Here's the thing. I understand why a father wants to help his son, and I can kind of understand why he would do it. And it's a difficult situation, but in the same situation, maybe a lot of us would do it too. There's a lot of issues here, though. We'll take me for example. I mean, I've got a boy half my age, and if he did anything like Hunter did, I'm still his daddy. I'd take him outside and I'd give him a whooping, and he knows I would. And I wouldn't pretend to the media that he didn't do anything wrong, which is what Biden's been trying to sell us, that he's a victim. There's that. But I do understand why a father wants to help his son, but I think the bad point here was that he's trying to make him a victim. He's denying that he would ever do this, and then he does it. I don't know how it would be received. Again, let's talk about me. If I was to do something like that, first of all, my son would never behave in that manner. But if he did, I flat out would say, I'm ashamed of my son for behaving this way. I'm very disappointed in him. I'm very disappointed in me as a father for raising somebody who is so obviously ill-equipped to be in society. And if I did pardon him, I would never say I wouldn't. And if I did, it would be like, look, I know a lot of you are going to disagree with this, but we're all parents. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to send your son to prison? I can't do that. Now, you could still blame me, but at least I'm coming from a place of honesty. And once you feel someone's being honest with you, you can kind of work with them. But Biden's not being honest. I don't think he's ever been honest about anything, to be honest with you. He just lies and lies and lies some more. So, I mean, Hunter belongs. I don't know if you guys remember that show, but if you ask me, he's a character out of Deadwood, that show on HBO from 2003. That's where he belongs. There's no law with him. The behavior is, animalistic. He's got so many drug and alcohol problems that need to be addressed. He shouldn't even be out in society right now. And I don't buy the fact that he's clean. He can say he's clean, and his father can say he's clean. I don't buy it. I mean, he got better on his own. He just stopped doing it. He was really bad, and his father's a terrible liar and a terrible enabler, and he's very corrupt. And I couldn't believe that Biden actually came out. You know who he blamed? Trump. He said this is all Donald Trump's fault. I mean, how long is the Biden family going to hang on to this excuse about, it's not us, it's Donald Trump? I mean, seriously, when they get pulled over for speeding and the cop comes over, are they going to say, hey, sorry, officer, it wasn't me, it was Donald Trump. He did it. Or when their children go to school and they forgot to do their homework, are they going to say the teacher, Sorry, Donald Trump ate my homework. I mean, at what point are people going to start taking responsibility? Donald Trump's got nothing to do with Hunter's drug problem and his criminal activity. Um, it's frustrating. Everything's Trump's fault. I don't know. So Biden came out and he said that there has been an effort to break Hunter. Not that Hunter is a derelict and Hunter belongs behind jails or in a rehab center. No. There's been an effort to break Hunter. I think Hunter's did a pretty good job himself, by the way. Enough is enough. Aha. Okay. So let's look at one of the more notorious events in Hunter's life, which obviously must be Donald Trump's fault. Hold on. On May 19th, 2018, Hunter checked into the Chateau Marmont for $469 a night. He had plenty of crack and drugs on him, or whatever he did at the time, and he was set to party. So he called the place called Emerald Fantasy Girls, and he called for an escort. They sent over a lovely woman called Gulnora. Not sure. I bet you that's not her real name. Just my guess. And they had a good 2 days. They went on a fun time. I'm sure they were reading books and exchanging ideas, flying kites, doing all that fun stuff. After 2 days, Gulnora decided that she wanted to be paid. And I guess her total bill was $8,000. I guess $4,000 a day. Okay. This is where it gets a little strange. Hunter got out a card to transfer the money, and apparently it didn't work. So he tried another card, and that didn't work. And he tried multiple cards, and they didn't seem to work. He did get an alert from, I think, Wells Fargo for a fraud alert, but that's all he got. And finally, he actually got one card to work, and she was happy and she left. Good for Gulnora. But the issue was that the cards did work. He didn't know they worked, or they were delayed, or somehow Donald Trump got involved. I don't know. He's responsible for everything else. But the money was delayed in getting there, and she ended up getting all the credit cards, which came out to be over $25,000. Now, she, I guess, was somewhat honest, if that's a word I can use for Gulnora. And she texted him back and said that she's going to send him all the money back. And he said, yes, please do. And for reasons unknown, it took 2 weeks for her to send most of the money back. Apparently $5,000 did not make it back. And when there was an attempt to reach her phone was dead, and Emerald Fantasy, what was it called? Emerald Fantasy Girls or whatever, they weren't there either. So who knows? Gulnora got an extra $5,000. But what happened was Secret Service, I don't know their names. I think one of them names was Rob, another one Scott maybe, but they arrived instantly almost to the hotel that Hunter was in, and told him to come down to the lobby. And he dawdled, and I don't know, he kept on telling me he's on his way and never went. And they ended up going to his door and basically knocking on the door until he opened it. Now, they were concerned that maybe he was using his father's credit card to pay Gulnora. But whether he did or he didn't, that was never known. That was never shared. But I would tend to think that considering he was in a frantic mode trying to pay this young woman, it's quite possible. And I don't know the I'm sure that would be a crime. I'm not sure what kind of crime it would be, but I would dare say you probably don't want to use federal wages to pay for drugs and hookers. Just my guess. But anyway, that's one of his shall we say indiscretions, and I don't know how you can blame Trump for that one, but somehow I guess it is Trump's fault. So let's talk about his crimes that he was being held on. He was convicted of he was being charged with 3 firearms charges, which he was convicted of later on. Getting a little ahead of myself here. He also pled guilty to federal tax charges, which again, we're getting a little ahead of our time. But what he was charged with was when he was addicted to crack, he went into a store in Delaware and he purchased a .38 caliber revolver, and he lied on the form, and that is serious. He also didn't pay any taxes between 2016 and 2019 while he was spending a lot of money on drugs and other things. During the investigation of the IRS, they did report there was external interference where they were not allowed all the access that they needed, and they just felt like they were being held back, and they reported that. So even during the investigation, they were being, I guess, harassed would not be, it would not be inaccurate. And anyway, by the spring of 2023, Biden wanted to make a plea deal. The plea deal was this: that he would plead guilty to a misdemeanor for the tax charges, and he would serve 2 years probation. So he would not get any prison time. And in return, they would drop the gun charges. So this went to a judge who was appointed by Donald Trump, which I'm not sure had anything to do with anything. It wasn't a recent appointment, but they pointed to it that, she was in Donald Trump's pocket. I don't really see that the case at all. She just happened to have been appointed by Donald Trump, I don't know, years ago. But her name was Mary Ellen Noreika. Sorry, Mary Ellen, if I'm mispronouncing your name. She rejected it on the grounds that it made her feel like they were just doing all the dealing in the back room and just asking her to rubber stamp it. And I guess she wanted to be more of an active participant, so she just denied it. She wanted, there to be she didn't like the smell of it, essentially. So then they decided to go ahead with the indictments. So the 2 charges that she was indicted for was lying about his addiction and illegal possession of the firearm for 11 days. Not sure exactly where that charge came from, but maybe that was holding onto the gun that he purchased for 11 days. I don't know. He went to trial and was found guilty of both counts. He then had to go to court for his tax evasion. The court again claimed that he spent all his money on drugs, prostitutes, girlfriends, hotels, exotic cars, and didn't pay his taxes from 2016 to 2019. There were 3 felony charges and 6 misdemeanors for his tax evasion. Hunter pleaded guilty on all of them and said they didn't want justice. They just wanted to dehumanize him. I think he did that all by himself, to be honest with you. I don't really think there was much left to dehumanize. I mean, goodness, the guy put M&Ms on his how do you do and took pictures of it. That's pretty dehumanizing. So he faced up to 17 years in prison and $450,000 in penalties. They were also looking into his Ukrainian natural gas company that paid him a whole bunch of money for a job that he was not qualified to do. And his sentencing was for 12/12 and 12/16. But the rest is history because Daddy Biden came in on the white horse and decided this was all Donald Trump's fault and pardoned him. So there you have it. Well, I got to tell you though that if this guy does not go down as the most incompetent, most corrupt, most, I don't know. I don't even know what most what. I mean, he's most everything. I wouldn't trust this guy, to tie his own shoes. And I think that when he does have moments of clarity, it's usually making backroom deals with foreign nations. There's no doubt the guy was corrupt. I mean, in my opinion. Anyway, regardless, he's almost out of there. And it's going to be a big black eye in the American history. Well, that's all I have for you tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. And if you didn't, then hopefully at least put you to sleep so you got some Z's in there. Anyway, I will talk to you later. This is Reverend Bill signing off. Hope it was good for you too.